today. Thank you so much for taking time to be with me. Now listen, I pray that this program is going to be a blessing to you. I want to strongly encourage you to do your homework. All right, now I'm going to pray for you and then we'll get into that. Let me pray for you. Father, I thank you for each and every person under the sound of my voice. Pray that you add life, love, and value to each and every one of them. I thank you for them. I ask that you bless them today, enrich their lives with your word, and I know you will. In Jesus' name, amen. Now, hey, check this out. We are in a series, and this series is called Romans. Now, I would love for you to join us on this journey. It's going to go for the next several weeks, and I'll kind of tell you our plan. Your homework is to read chapters 1 through 4 this week. All right, 1 through 4. All right, each week we're going to go, obviously, for 4 weeks, we're going to get all 16 chapters in. And what I want to do is I want to talk about one verse in every chapter. All right, now I will tell you, there are many great verses, especially in chapter 1, which is where I'm going to start today. But I want to kind of break it down for you. Let me give you a little bit of history. If you have not connected with us through Abundant Life Church and the messages, I want to make sure everybody in our audience is actually getting a good foundation of this. So let me just kind of break it down for you. The book of Romans has 16 chapters, arguably one of the greatest transformational books in the entire Bible. It's changed so many lives. You know, whenever you look back on church history, people like John Wesley, people like Martin Luther, it goes on and on. All the men and women who the book of Romans has touched, and it's changed their lives. So it's a rich book, and it's great in doctrine, and I believe it's going to be a blessing. So I thank you so much for taking time to be with me. Now, here's a couple things you want to know about it. 16 chapters. I believe 433 verses, if my memory serves me correctly. I want to let you know it was written around 56 AD. The Apostle Paul is the author of it. We're confident in that. What's interesting about it, and this may a little side note here, the Apostle Paul was born again around 35 AD. He is writing this at 56 AD from Corinth. You've heard of the Church of Corinthians. All right, he's writing it from there, which means he's only been born again about 21 years, which I know we think of that as, depending on your age, you might think that's a long time, but truthfully, I've been preaching full time, as a pastor for longer than that, which is interesting. And I don't believe I'm qualified to write the book of Romans. The Apostle Paul did it and he did a fabulous job. He's arguably one of the greatest minds in church history. But anyway, nevertheless, it's a great, great book. Now, when it comes to chapter 1, let me just kind of do this. Here's what we're going to do. This week, I pray that you will like, share, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff, because I'm going to talk about one verse. As I go through the week on Friday, if you have a question about the book of Romans, especially chapters 1 through 4, I don't want to jump ahead. Chapters 1 through 4, send it to me. We'll have things posted somewhere, here, there, everywhere. So you can email me your questions. I'll do my very best. And I'm going to try on Friday to answer a few of those questions. And again, I'm going to try and keep it to chapters 1 through 4. And then next week, we'll move into the next 4 chapters. Okay? So I hope that's a blessing. Now, let's get into Romans chapter 1 real quick here. We're going to talk about verse 16. Now, I know what people will say. If you've read the chapter, you know that the ending of the chapter, boy, it's heavy. It's heavy because what happens is whenever people give up the truth and believe a lie, they allow darkness in, and then it leads them down a path. And that path is not good. I mean, it goes on to explain how men forsaking the proper use of a woman, it gets into all that. But that is not the verse that really brings life, love, and value to me, although it's rich. Please don't misunderstand. I'm not compromising or anything like that. I love verses that speak to my heart and really speak to me where I'm at. And my verse today is Romans chapter 1, verse 16. Now, I want you to pay close attention to it. There's some deep, deep meat in there. And that's why I love these videos. That's why I love sharing this time. Because, sometimes as a pastor, you're not able to get into the depth of it a lot of times. But in this video right now, which is 4 minutes long, and I'm going to keep it under 7-8 minutes. All right. Listen, I believe we can get you some deep, deep stuff. So listen, here's what the verse says. It's 1:16 of Romans. It says, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel." Now let's just stop there. The word gospel there, especially in our culture, we know that that's talking about Jesus and all that. But it's the good news. It actually, if you go back into Paul's day, it was the too good to be true news. All right. The gospel is always good news. Now here's what it says. I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power. That word power there is, we get the word dynamite. I don't know if you grew up in the season of life that I am, you remember dynamite, you know what I mean? But JJ, I believe was his name. But nevertheless, here's the deal. We get the word dynamite. So the power of God is dynamite. Listen to this. For it is the power, the dunamis power of God. That's the Greek word, dunamis. The power of God unto salvation. So here it is. For it is the power of God unto salvation. The word salvation there is soteria, which the root word of that is sozo. Now you say, what? So what, Pastor Charlie? What's that got to do with? Well, I got to put these on. I want to read from, and if you guys been around me long enough, you know this. This is my Bible, my study Bible, and I love this Bible. If you're wanting to buy a Bible, buy this Bible. I love a New King James. I think it's awesome, and I'm just partial to it. But this is my Bible. If you've been to our church before, and I've talked about this. This is the Bible that I study from. It has a Greek kind of dictionary at the very beginning, and you can look up that word sozo. So get this, everybody. The word sozo, here's what it means. Now listen to this. Sozo. So this is your salvation. Most people think of salvation as just simply getting born again and going to heaven and punching their ticket for heaven. That's not what it means. Your salvation is much bigger than that, much broader than that. Jesus, when he died on the cross, he did it all. He did all the work. Listen to what the word sozo means, the Greek word. It means, Strong's 4982, it means to save, to heal, to cure, to preserve, to keep safe and sound, to rescue from danger or destruction, to deliver. Sozo saves you from physical death by healing, and from spiritual death by forgiving sin and its effects. Sozo is primitive in primitive cultures, is translated simply to give new life or to cause to have a new heart. So I love that. So when it says that the word of God, the gospel is the power of God unto salvation. That word there, sozo, it means it's unto new life. It's unto healing, unto forgiveness, unto, honestly, whatever you need, whatever you're in need of, I'm here to tell you, Jesus paved the way for you to have it. Now, the next part of that verse, though, please don't just kind of like discard it and go on. Listen to this. Unto salvation. Now listen to this. The next part is very important. It says, to everyone who believes. Now, if you've got an old King James, not a New King James, but an old King James, it'll say believeth. Let me give you a little clue here. Whenever you read in the old King James, if it's if, all right, what you're going to find out is that if is speaking of a tense, and it is a present participle in the Greek, which means continual repeated action. Continual repeated action. So get this. For I'm not ashamed of the gospel, the good news of Jesus. All right. What is the good news? All right. For it is, the gospel is the power of God, dunamis power of God unto salvation, wholeness, healing, deliverance, prosperity, all the things that Jesus died for and brought to us. To everyone who believeth. In other words, continual believes. So continually believes. So it's not, I believed 20 years ago for this. It's, I'm believing each and every day for God's everything that God has for me, for prosperity, deliverance, healing, blessing, all those things, favor. I'm believing for all that Jesus died for to come to pass in my life. And that is a daily experience. It's not something you did 20 years ago. It's something you're doing right now. And by listening to this video, I hope I'm stirring it up. Hope I'm stirring up belief on the inside of you. Okay. Now, listen. My time is up. I was trying to keep this under 7 minutes, but here I am 9 minutes in. But hey, listen, I pray that that's a blessing to you. You need to believeth. You need to stir up belief each and every day, all right? Now listen, my time is up. I got to go. I want to remind you, like, subscribe, okay? By subscribing, you're going to get notifications each and every day as we bring these to you. I look forward to tomorrow. I got a great word. We're going to answer a question about those who maybe have not heard the gospel but are subject to the gospel. So can everyone be, what does that mean? You're going to see it in chapter 2. It's going to be a blessing. Remember, like, subscribe, share it with somebody that you want to bring life, love, and value, because that is our heart. That is my heart, to bring life, love, and value to everyone, everywhere, every day. All right. God bless you. I love you. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for joining me.